Primeape's one of those Pokemon that's always slipped under the radar for me. In the early generations, the Mankey line was a version exclusive. That meant it wasn't available in Pokemon Blue along with Pokemon Crystal. On top of that, it's always been outshone by the Machop line, and that means we have a Pokemon that has a lot of potential to prove. Primeape is the first of 10 runs I've recorded back to back. When I do my content, I always record the runs in bulk, then do the editing in bulk, and then do the voiceovers in bulk. And I tell you what, this set of 10 runs might be my favourite set we've ever had together here on the channel. And it really is going to be a set of contrasting runs. My two picks out of this set of 10 have to be Scyther and Blissey. They are so contrasting, and they're going to be coming out back to back in about 3 or 4 videos time. In the meantime though, we're going to be turning our focus back to Mankey. It's getting its run in the spotlight, and we'll take a look at its stats. We start off at level 5 as always, this time with 19 HP. We are holding a berry, and our 2 moves are Scratch and Leer. We've got 13 in attack, 9 in defense, 9 also in special attack, 10 in special defense, and 13 in speed. So we are a fast Pokemon, and we are a heavy hitting Pokemon. That is always the formula for a very good runtime, and we can see that with the aid of a critical hit, we 2-shot our first wild encounter, a level 2 Sentret. Now, as we're making our way towards Mr. Pokemon's house, I've got a little question for all of you. We're roughly halfway through our fully evolved runs here on this leaderboard, and that brings into question, what do we do with the Pokemon that aren't fully evolved? Would you like to see them go on the main leaderboard so we have 251 slots? Or would you like to see them branch off into their own separate leaderboards with different categories? Please do let me know, and whatever the consensus is, I shall do. If it turns out to be a tie, of course we can just have 2 sets of leaderboards, one with all the runs on and one with all the different categories. But during all of that waffling, we've already defeated the rival. I used the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Cyndaquil with Mankey. That gives the rival Totodile, which I felt was the best fit for this run, and we can now make our way on towards Violet City. Of course, we are a fighting type Pokemon, and we currently don't have a fighting type move, so we're going to beat up this level 4 Caterpie, grow to level 9, and this is where we learn Low Kick. Low Kick in Generation 2 works differently into later generations. It is a 50 base power move and has a 30% chance to flinch. Now, because we're a fighting type Pokemon, we're absolutely not going to Falkner straight away. Instead, we're going to make our way towards the tippy top of the Sprout Tower. At the top of the Sprout Tower, we encounter Elderly, who has a pair of Bellsprouts and a Hoothoot for our battling pleasure. We knock them all out, we grow to level 13 in the process, and we obtain the Flash HM. I know a lot of runners have stopped using Flash in their runs. I've tried it. I've tried practicing both Whirl Islands and Rock Tunnel in the dark, and I just can't do it. But enough about my failures at being able to visualise anything. We've got a gym battle to do. This is Falkner, our first gym leader together, and he's going to lead with Pidgey. It's a 2-shot with Low Kick with the Pidgey, and we are on to Pidgeotto. We're on 32 HP, and it looks like we didn't really need to grind after all. 2 shots knocks out the Pidgeotto, and we obtain the Zephyr Badge in a time of 8 minutes and 8 seconds. Bob time for Primeape with the Zephyr Badge, and we can move on towards Azalea Town. En route to Azalea Town, we're going to pick up that very important Paralysed Cure Berry. We'll beat up a few trainers on the way, and in Union Cave we're going to get TM39. TM39 contains Swift, which is a nice upgrade to our base power for a normal type move. It also can never miss, so any pesky sand attacks won't affect us. And talking of accuracy lowering moves, we'll also teach Mud Slap as well. Mudslap's going to be used against the second rival battle because of course that pesky Ghastly is immune to both our normal and fighting type moves. And now that we're through Union Cave, we'll go into the Ilex Forest and we'll catch our HM friends for the run. First up today in a break of form is Paris. Paris is going to be helping us out with Cut, Flash, Dig, and if we need it later, Sweet Scent as well. And that means our second HM friend today is Psyduck. Psyduck's job in the party is to be helping us out with Surf, Strength, Whirlpool, and Waterfall. And Psyduck is actually one of the best HM friends you can have in Generation 2. It learns so many field moves, but now we're already on to our second gym battle together. This is Bugsy, the Bug-type leader, who leads with Metapod. We've equipped a PlayStation Network Cure Berry for this occasion, but it looks like we won't need it, because the Kakuna doesn't poison us with Poison Sting, or on 50 HP for the Scyther. I decide to Leer in a weird strategy here. Leer doesn't really work out as expected because Fury Cutter keeps building and building and building. We're not quite strong enough to knock it out, so I give it another go. At this point I still thought I was onto something with the Leer strategy, so I gave it a couple more resets, and yet again we came into the same issue. Even going into the Scyther at full HP at 53, 4 Leers was not enough to knock it out in one shot. As we can see here, Fury Cutter, even though we resist it, is very, very strong, and that critical hit was enough to knock us out. So we're going to change the order of things ever so slightly, and we're going to do Rival 2 before Bugsy. It's not very often this happens, but I think Rival 2 might be the easier battle. So we'll Mud Slap the Ghastly and we'll critical hit to knock it out. We grow to level 20, which is important for Bugsy, and we're on to the Zubats. We get confused by the Zubats with our low defense. That means we are taking a lot of damage each time we hit ourselves, but fortunately it's only 2 shots to knock it out. We snap out of the confusion and we use Karate Chop against the Croconaw. We knock it out in 3 hits, and we are through Rival 2, and we can give Bugsy another try. So back into the gym we go after healing up at the Pokemon Center, and let's see how well we do this time. So once again, this is Bugsy, our second gym leader together, who leads with Metapod. It's much of a muchness with the Metapod and the Kakuna. They were no issue before and they're no issue now, and we are on to the Scyther once more. This time I decide to go straight for attacking. We're going to be using Swift, and it turns out just 3 Swifts is all it takes to knock out the Scyther, and we are through Bugsy in a time of 18 minutes and 47 seconds. Don't directly compare that to most other runs though, because we've already done Rival 2. That means our Goldenrod split is going to be an awful lot quicker. Before getting to Goldenrod though, we've got a couple of bits and bobs to do in the Ilex Forest. We'll grab cuts from the Charcoal Maker, and we're also going to grab headbutts from the green haired man staring at the tree. Headbutt is a very strong normal type move, base 70 power, which is brilliant this early on in the game, so it's going to be goodbye to Swift and hello to Headbutt in its place. Now that we're through the forest, we'll make our way into Route 34, where our third HM friend waits for us. This is Abra, who's only going to be helping with teleports, but goodness me, teleports is very handy in these runs. And now that we're in Goldenrod City proper, we'll go and get the bike. The bike is now actually mandatory for me in my routing because I've changed up the Kanto section quite a bit. Before I talk about that though, let's get Kenya, our 4th and final HM friend. Kenya's going to be helping us out with Fly, we'll grab Dig from National Park, and my routing in Kanto now means that I go down Cycling Road, and without the bike you cannot access Cycling Road. We'll be seeing the reordered Kanto gym leaders a little bit later on. Those of you who saw the Abomasnow video have had a little sneak preview, but we haven't had a sneak preview of this. This is our third gym leader together, Whitney, a normal type specialist, and it's over before it even began. 3 shots is all it took to knock out her entire team. We obtained the Plain Badge in a time of 24 minutes and 45 seconds. Any time we lost by reordering Rival 2 and Bugsy is absolutely made up now. And we can annoy that pesky tree with a Squirts bottle and make our way into Ecruteak City. In Ecruteak City, our first thing we're going to do is take on the Kimono Girls. This gives us some delicious experience and also gives us access to Surf for Psyduck. Even against the evolution we're weak towards, it was only a couple of shots to knock it out. We'll obtain Surf from the man staring at the stage, and now it's time for what has become known on the streams here on the channel as a little bit of cheating. I got a comment roughly about a year ago telling me that I was cheating my runs because we went to the Lake of Rage before we had Morty's badge. So we're going to go through Mount Mortar and beat up Pokemaniac Miller en route. He is an excellent source of experience early on in game because he's got 2 fully evolved Pokemon, and it's against Pokemaniac Miller that we evolve into a Primeape, and at Primeape's evolution level we get the option to learn Rage. We're going to replace Mudslap because we're getting Hidden Power Ghost in just a moment or two, and Rage can be really fun to use against some of these multi-hitting Pokemon. We'll grab the rare candy at the Lake of Rage, and then we'll have a little chat with this man meditating in his house. He gives us a Hidden Power TM to make sure we stop pestering him, and like I mentioned a couple of moments ago, Hidden Power type this time is Ghost. Hidden Power Ghost is going to be a giant Uno reverse card for all those pesky ghost types we cannot hit naturally. We'll just use their own type against them, and we'll try that out here in Rival 3. He leads with a horn, so we use Hidden Power Ghost, and it's a one-shot. That is brilliant news for Morty, whose entire gym is just ghost type Pokemon. We've got the mere formality of beating up the rival before we get to Morty though, and it's looking like it's going to be 2 shots on the Croconaw. His final Pokemon is Magnemite. It's weak to a fighting type Karate Chop, so we knock it out, and we are through the 3rd rival battle in under half an hour. We're not quite on Giraffaric pace with this run. but we are absolutely in contention for the top 10. Even this early on, it's easy to tell that Primeape is going to be a pleasure to work with. We'll see how Primeape fares now against the 4th gym leader. This is Morty, the Ghost and Poison type super spectacular specialist who leads with Ghastly. Ghastly gets knocked out in one hidden power ghost, as does Haunter. It's all about the Gengar. Are we going to knock it out in one? Yes, we are, with a critical hit. One more Haunter left to go, and we've knocked him out in less time than it took for him to finish his spiel. Fog Badge acquired in a time of 31 minutes and 32 seconds, and now we can start going west towards Olivine City. Olivine's one of those cities that has an awful lot going on but doesn't really feel like it. We've got to go up the lighthouse twice, I do a shop here, and we also get strength. I actually paused the timer after getting strength to have a little think about whether I wanted to teach it to Primeape. Ultimately though, I decided against it because Headbutt is doing just as good a job on its own, and for the increase of only 10 base power but not being able to forget the move till Blackthorn, I thought it would be better off time-wise to carry on with Headbutt. Headbutt definitely was good enough for ascending the lighthouse so we can have a little chat with Jasmine. We grabbed the secret potion from the dodgy shop on Cyanwood City, and while we're in Cyanwood we might as well face Chuck. Chuck has a Primeape just like us, and it's going to be Primeape versus Primeape to begin with. I was hoping to be quite clever here and use a rage strategy because that Primeape has Fury swipes. It didn't play ball, but I decided to carry on with rage nonetheless. We get a very lucky critical hit against the Poliwrath. Dynamic Punch doesn't even come close to knocking us out, and combine that with a Bitter Berry from just outside Violet, and we have defeated Chuck in a time of 37 minutes and 34 seconds. 6 minutes including Lighthouse between Morty and Chuck is not bad at all, and now we'll grab ourselves HMO2 from Chuck's wife. That is of course Fly, and we're now going to fly around the Johto region picking up some bits and bobs. We start off with the rare candy at Violet City, and then we surf down from Goldenrod City to get the rare candy outside of the daycare. We'll also grab a nugget and sell that for money for some vitamins a little bit later on, and we're also going to grab some punching TMs. We have of course Lance coming up with his 4x weakness to ice with his signature Pokemon, and we have Jasmine coming up whose Steelix is happy for a melting with Fire Punch. And now that we've got all that out of the way, we'll face the Gyarados at the Lake of Rage. And even though we're only 6 levels above Gyarados' level, this is not going to be any problem at all. A trio of headbutts is all it takes to knock it out. We obtain the red scale, and then we have a chat with my least favourite person on the planet. It's Lance the Liar with the Flyers, who takes us all the way through Mahogany Underground, and I'm pleased to tell you absolutely nothing happened in there. So we'll skip to where Lance gives us the budget Whirlpool HM, and we'll make our way into our next gym together. This is Price, our 6th gym leader together. He's an Ice-type specialist who leads with Seal. Now Seal isn't an ice type, but we'll beat it up nonetheless with a headbutt, and we're on to Dugong. Karate Chop on the Dugong is a one shot, and that just leaves Piloswine left to go. It's a range against the Piloswine, and we get unlucky with a low roll first try. That means we lose a little bit of time due to a Fury attack and a Hyper Potion, but we still knock it out on turn 2, and we obtain the Glacier Badge in a very satisfying 44-11. Let's now move on back towards Olivine City. We've got an Ampharos to rescue. That is of course if we believe that Jasmine's actually giving that secret potion to Ampharos. I personally believe she's getting a torch out of her handbag, blinding us, running away with a secret potion and leaving for her gym. We'll find out exactly what's going on though, because we're going to chase her. This is of course Jasmine's gym. It's our 7th gym together, the Steel type gym, and boy howdy do we have the move for her. We replaced Rage with Fire Punch because Rage didn't work out quite as planned, and now it's time for our battle with her. She's going to lead with a pair of Magnemite that are very meltable, so it's one shot on Magnemite number 1 and it's one shot on Magnemite number 2. It's all against Primeape with our low special attack against Steelix with its low special defense. Iron Tail hits us, but she doesn't heal, so we knock it out in 2 shots, and we are through Jasmine in a time of 45 minutes and 28 seconds. Even Secret Potion couldn't save her this time. And now we're in the first part of our slightly rerouted Johto. We're going to be going through the ice path now, and the full reason for that is we get an extra protein in the ice path, and having the opportunity to use that protein before the rocket section means we're able to fit another protein in when we buy our vitamins. In testing for this routing, the movement is roughly the same amount of time as it would be to do it the other way around, but that extra little bit of attack can make all the difference in a lot of battles. We're now on the penultimate rival battle, and this time, even with that extra protein, we weren't quite able to one-shot the Golbat. We do, however, one-shot the Haunter, and we don't get confused by Golbat, and that brings us on to Feraligatr. Feraligatr takes a lot of damage from return and barely deals any damage back with a water gun, and that means Magnemite is next. Magnemite, of course, weak to fire, so we knock it out with a fire Fire Punch, and then we go to Karate Chop for the Sneasel as it's 4 times weak, we knock it out, and we are through the 4th rival battle in 51 minutes and 51 seconds. We get to the top of the radio tower in 55 minutes and 35 seconds, and that means we're still in contention for a sub 1 hour Claire. We'll grab the pink bow from Marie, and we'll also grab the radio card from the lady at the reception, and we can fly straight over to Blackthorn City now. In Blackthorn City, there's only one thing for us to do now, and that is take on Claire. Claire is of course our 8th and final Jotonian gym leader together, and she's going to lead with Dragonair. Return as a one-shot against the first Dragonair, where we grow to level 48, and it's a one-shot against her other 2 Dragonair as well. That means the big obstacle for this battle is her Kingdra. However, during the rocket section we learn Cross Chop. It hits first try, we get a critical hit, we knock it out in 1, and we have defeated Claire and obtained the badge in a time of 58 minutes and 49 seconds. I'm always very happy with a run when we get a Claire split under 1 hour, and we've absolutely done that this time. With all 8 Johto badges, we can start making our way over towards Kanto. We'll grab the rare candy from just east of Newbark Town. We'll show our 8 badges to the guard at the gate, and we'll go and engage the rival in his final battle for this run. This is Rival 5, and he's leading with Sneasel. That's a bad idea for him because we're able to one-shot it even without a super effective move, and this time we one-shot the Golbat. No confusion for us as we get onto the Kadabra. Kadabra's got paper-thin defense, so it's another one-shot, and we're still holding on to Hidden Power Ghost for the Haunter. It's another 1 hit, and that brings us onto Feraligatr. I decide to get a little bit risky and Cross Chop, but it misses first try. It one-shot second try though, and that just leaves Magneton left to go. We've still got that fiery boxing glove on our Primeape. We knock it out in a single hit, and we say goodbye to the rival at exactly the 1 hour and 3 minute mark. And with that, it's time to get ourselves ready for the Pokemon League. The first thing we'll do is heal up whether we need it or not, and we'll say thank you to our HM friends. So it's thank you to Kenya, to Abra, to Psyduck, and to Parrish. You've all been a huge help here in the Johto region. You all get yourselves some much deserved rest as we prepare to take on the gauntlet that is the Elite Four. Going into the league, we are level 52 with 157 HP. We're holding the pink boat with Return, Hidden Power Ghost, Fire Punch, and Cross Chop. We've got 150 in attack, 104 in defense, 103 in special attack, 114 in special defense, and 137 in speed. So just like at the beginning of the run, we're a fast, hard hitter, and let's see how we get on against our first league member. And we're starting with what arguably might be our hardest league member. This is Will, the Psychic type specialist who led with a Zato. Zato and Jinx are already fainted though, and we're on to Executor. Executor can be a right pest in these runs with its Leech Seed, but we don't get seeded this time when we are on to Slowbro. Slowbro is bulky, it's slow, it's in its name, but we critical hit to knock it out, and the final Pokemon is Zato. Hidden Power Ghost is more than capable of one-shotting it, and we're through Will in a time of 104.19. Let's move on to Koga. Koga is the newly promoted Poison-type specialist who leads with Ariados. We one-shot the Ariados with Return, and we do the same against Venomoth. Venomoth's actually getting its run in this set of 10, and I'm really excited for it. Crobat comes out third, and it's not quite a one-shot. He uses a full restore and tries stalling us with Double Team, and we get precariously close to being knocked out. Our Return didn't hit for a couple of turns in a row, but we eventually get one landing. We decline the option to learn Screech, and we're on to Fortress. We have Poultry special attack, but Fortress is 4 times weak to fire, so it goes down in 1. So it's Primeape versus Muck. Return takes it deep into the yellow as he minimalises. Our accuracy doesn't fail us this time though. We knock it out on turn 2, and we are through Koga and on to Bruno. It's Fighting type specialist versus Fighting type specialist, but he doesn't have our Fighting type on his team, therefore he is instantly weaker than us. We one-shot the Hitmontop, we one-shot the Hitmonlee, and we're already onto the Hitmonchan. Muck Punch gives us a little bit of a tickle, but we hit back harder with a Return, and we are on to Machamp. We use Cross Chop against the Machamp and one-shot it and get revenge for all those normal types that struggled here at Bruno. We swap to Ice Punch for the Onix, and we are through Bruno in a time of 1 hour 5 minutes and 56 seconds. Come on Karen, do your worst. We have the type advantage over you, and we Cross Chop your Scumbreon right into next week. Up next, of course, is Vileplume. Vileplume can be pesky because it has the option to paralyse us, and that's exactly what happens. She gets locked into a Petal Dance as we are fully paralysed on turn 1. We knock it out on turn 2, but we are slower than the Gengar. That means that we get cursed because we've only got 40 speed, and now we're on a clock for the rest of the battle. Feint Attack barely tickles us with the Murkrow as we knock it out in one shot, and now we decide not to gamble. We just go for a return, we knock out the Houndoom, and we are through Karen in a time of 1 hour 6 minutes and 42 seconds. That means there's only one thing between us and the Hall of Fame. It's time for the battle with Lance, the liar with the flyers who leads with Gyarados. We're going to start off with a return against Gyarados as he rain dances. It's the standard Gyarados opening and we are on to Aerodactyl. And we risk a cross chop against the Aerodactyl, it knocks it out in one shot, and here comes Charizard. We don't have anything super effective against this Charizard, but Wing Attack is barely tickling us. That means we have just 3 Dragonite left to go. Our special attack is good enough for the first level 47 Dragonite, it's good enough for the second one as well, and that just leaves the level 50 left to go. We also one-shot the level 50 and we are through Lance on our first try in a time of 1 hour 7 minutes and 41 seconds. Our final lead time for this run is 1 hour 7 minutes and 57 seconds, and that is only about 2.5 minutes slower than Machamp. But that is of course only half of the story. We have another delicious buffet of 8 gym badges plus of course the red fight left to come, so don't you dare go anywhere. Kanto is next. And we are back, where it all began outside our home in Newmark Town, and Professor Elm has a phone call for us. He's going to give us the SS ticket that will let us access the Kanto region, but before we get there we've got to retrieve our HM friends. So it's a warm welcome back to Kenya, to Abra, to Psyduck and to Paris. They all had a lovely little rest and are ready to help out throughout Kanto, but before we get there we've got a couple of bits and bobs to pick up. The first being a rare candy here in Mount Mortar that we need Waterfall to access, and the second one of course being the rare candy in the Whirl Islands. This is right next door to Olivine City anyway, so we might as well grab it and get the boat. And a hop, skip and a jump takes us into Kanto. And of course the first thing we do in Kanto is the last thing we do in Johto. We're going to get another rare candy, this time from the chairman of the Pokemon fan club. And with that safely tucked away in our bag along with all the other rare candies, we'll grab the hidden full heal by the bush at Vermilion City Gym, and it's time to take on our first Kantonian gym leader. This is Lieutenant Surge, an electric type specialist who leads with Raichu. Now we're going to be going through our new Kanto routing. We do Surge into Erica, then go down to Fuchsia City for Janine. We hop back over to Saffron City, do a load of the power plant storyline. We nip back to Saffron once more to take on Sabrina. We head north to take on Misty in Cerulean City. We go to Vermilion City to go through the Diglett's Cave, take on Brock, take on Blaine, take on Blue, and then we're at Red. That's the new Kanto routing. It saves around about a minute now that I'm well versed with it, and even if the timings for these two routings were roughly similar, I'd take on this routing instead. It is much better pacing for the second half of the run where I'm feeling fatigued. And while we're taking on the Kanto Gauntlet, I just want to talk to you all about why I've been away for so long. Since the end of last year, I have lost 3 people very dear to me, and I didn't realise just how hard it was hitting me until I sat down and started doing challenge running. What a lot of people don't talk about when they're doing challenge runs is you have anywhere between about 90 minutes to 3 hours where you're just alone with your thoughts. A lot of challenge running is done on autopilot. Once you've got the movement memorised and once you know what you're coming up against, but with the lion's share of time being spent out of battle, that is so much time to just think about anything you want, and my mind kept wandering to the loss of these people, and it really did start to affect me badly. I had about 6 or 7 runs where I got halfway through and I just could not focus. But the strange thing to me was when I wasn't doing challenge runs, I was feeling fine. So I needed this time to really process the grief and understand what was going on, and now I'm feeling an awful lot better once more. So it's going to be a slow burn back into full content. I am looking to stream again very soon, and I've started that off over on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/trainersquidgy. It's quite a different experience to what you'll see here on the challenge runs because that channel isn't family friendly. However, it's been a really good leg up to getting that confidence back to be out there and put the content out once more. And I never really ask for this, but kind of as a personal favour, if you've listened to this and you've kind of understood where I'm coming from, please do leave a comment down below. It's been a little bit terrifying recording this voiceover, and I kind of need all the moral support I can get. My friends over in the Discord server have been absolutely wonderful, and if you do want to join the Discord server, please do watch out for a stream. I put a link out every single stream. But that's enough waffling about me. I want to know about you. How have you all been? I hope you had a lovely start to this year, and let's get back into the run. We've just defeated Brock in a time of 1 hour 20 minutes and 28 seconds, and not a single one of these Kantonian gym leaders has put up even a vague hint of a fight next. We of course have Blaine next, and Blade is a fire type specialist, But before we get to Blaine, we're going to chat with Blue and make him go back to his gym to do his job. There's a rare candy on Cinnabar Island with our name on it as well, so we'll grab that and we'll start surfing east towards the Seafoam Islands where Blaine waits for us. He is of course our 15th gym leader together. He's a fire-type specialist who leads with Magcargo. We start off with 2 cross chops and we miss and we get burnt. Disaster has struck. This is one of the very few times where we are in peril against Blaine of all people. We are burnt, we're a physical attacker, that means our attack is doing very little whatsoever, and we get knocked out by the Rapidash. I was so humiliated by the fact that we'd just been beaten up by Blaine. Unfortunately for Blaine, lightning doesn't strike twice in a row when we cross-chop the Magcargo first time this time, and that gives us a very smooth end to the battle. It's 3 one-shots against Blaine to knock him out, and we earn the Volcano badge in a time of 1 hour 22 minutes and 2 seconds. Our final gym leader is Blue. He's a mixed-type specialist who leads with Pidgeot. Cross-chop isn't quite a one-shot and he mirror moves it back. We finish it off with Return and we are on to Alakazam. We outspeed the Alakazam using Return against it, and that means no Reflect for Blue this time, and we are on to his Gyarados. We get a critical hit against the Gyarados to knock it out in 1, and here comes another pesky Executor. This time we get seeded. I alluded to it back in Will's battle, but Executor really is the bane of our existence in this run. Hidden Power can take it deep into the yellow, but his stall strategy with the healing items means we're only on 79 HP for the Arcanine. We take it deep into the yellow on turn 1, but Flamethrower knocks us out, and that's 2 Cantonium gym leaders in a row where we've been knocked out. I decide to use Return against the Pidgeot this time, and I've equipped the leftovers. That means we're on full health for the Alakazam, and we know this is going to be a foregone conclusion. I show off with a cross chop and knock it out in 1 hit, and we are on to Gyarados. Gyarados would be a nice simple 2-shot if it wasn't for that pesky full restore, but 3 hits later knocks it out, and here comes that nasty Executor. This time I use Ice Punch hoping for the freeze, but once again we get seeded. We knock it out in 2 though as he declines to heal, and here comes the Arcanine. And very annoyingly for us, Cross Chop is not a one-shot. If we got a lucky critical hit there, it would have been a one-shot, but instead he is stalling us once more. He only had a single full restore left, so we do eventually knock it out, and we're on 106 HP for the Rhydon. We use a Cross Chop against the Rhydon, it hits first time, we knock it out in 1, and we are through Blue on our second attempt in 124-14. And that's it, we've got all 16 badges acquired. There's only one thing left to do, and that's chat with Professor Oak to open up Mount Silver, where we can start thinking about our final challenge, the Red Battle. And with the time currently being 1 hour 24 minutes and 37 seconds, we are still in contention for a top 10 spot. Our time to beat is Nidoking. Nidoking got a 1 hour 27 minutes and 49 seconds at Red. Will we be able to do it? There's only one way to find out. This is Red, the final battle of the game, and he leads with Pikachu. Good news is we already outspeed the Pikachu and we one-shot it with Cross Chop, so that is irrelevant. Here comes Espeon though, and we don't one-shot with Hidden Power Ghost. He can see the KO with Psychic, so it means we're instantly going to use our first 3 rare candies. Espeon is going to be the sticking point of this battle, and I am very glad it's the second Pokemon he comes out with. Pikachu is irrelevant, Return is a one-shot. Let's see if we can do any more damage against the Espeon. At level 68, we still get one-shot by Psychic. Let's use another 3 rare candies and go up to level 71. Let's see if it's any different this time. It really is just going to be trial and error until we're able to do something against this Espeon. And on this attempt, we are in with a shout because we get a very lucky critical hit against Espeon, so we can see how bad the rest of the battle is going to be. We use Return against the Charizard, but it's not going to be a 2-shot. It's a 3-shot at this level, and that means that Wing Attack decimates us. We're only on 28, going up to 41 HP against the Snorlax, and even a Cross Chop cannot save us here. It's not a one-shot, and Body Slam knocks us out. So let's use our final 4 rare candies. We are now at level 75, let's see what we can do. He starts off with a Pikachu, which we know is irrelevant, and it's just out of here with Return. Espeon's next, and Hidden Power Ghost is now a one-shot. That means we can turn our attention to that pesky Charizard. Return at level 75 is now a 2-shot. That means we're taking half the damage we were before, and we are in the green for the Snorlax. The increase in levels also means that Cross Chop is now a 1-shot, so we say get out of here to Snorlax. We only have 2 Pokemon left to go, those being Venusaur and Blastoise. Venusaur is going to be a 3-shot with Return, and we take some Solar Beam damage for the privilege of knocking it out, but we are on to his final Pokemon. It's Blastoise, and it's now or never. We use Return as he uses Surf, we get down to 13 HP, we try a Cross Chop and it lands, we get a critical hit, and we knock it out in a time of 1 hour 27 minutes and 48 seconds. The final leaderboard time always comes from when that text box saying Pokemon Trainer Red has been defeated. That message came up at 1:27:48 and we just by 1 second scraped ourselves into the top 10. And not only that, Primeape has also easily beaten Machamp as well. At the other end of page 2, that does push Houndoom down into the page 2 drop zone with a time of 1:59:30, and with Houndoom now being in 50th position, that means that you need a time of 2 hours or below to get into the top 50 runs. Dugong is now the page 3 leader, and we still have Paw Shuckle down in last place. But with that, we are done. So I'm going to say thank you all so much for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure as always. If you've enjoyed this run, please do leave it a like. If you've got any feedback at all, leave it in the comments down below. If you want to see more runs just like this, then click subscribe. But until next time, I'll say thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all very, very soon.